Well, Tanshi, everyone. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming out today. A couple of things before I forget. Lynn and I brought in some birch bark from a log that was from a tree that had died previously in the forest. And often you can just peel the bark off from there and then wash it. Just lightly scrub it. I don't use soap. I just take it down to the lake or water. I mean, if it's really dirty, I might use a little bit of Dawn soap, but usually it's just with my fingers. And what's important to see how thick the original bark can be. But then when you look at it, it's just layers. So you can have whatever thickness you would like for beading. So for the earrings, it was a little bit thinner because then it's easier to get your needle through. But there's a happy medium, otherwise it kind of just starts to disintegrate. So it's both strong and fragile. So you're not restricted to a particular pattern. As you can see, there's on some of these, the orange beads just go up and down, and maybe follow around the shoulders. On the cross, this way. And in this one, they go up and down. This one actually is caribou tufted. So that's all caribou hair. This one is on its way to being finished. There's the shirt. And then this has got some deer hide and the pins inserted just by making two little cuts in the deer hide. And then we glue that on. Don't glue all the way to the edge. Leave about 3 to 4 millimeters around the edge where there's no glue, because it's almost impossible to get your needle through that glue once it's dried. And then we'll talk about how to finish the edges. Talking about families and family stories. This is just a bit of Métis history from the Red River. My maiden name was anglicized to Poitras. It's really Poitras. And my great-great-grandfather, but there's Louis Riel's council. Yes. And he's in that picture. Carole was just saying her ancestor might be as well. Yeah. So Pierre was a representative in the Riel Manitoba government. He seconded the Manitoba Act, which brought Manitoba into Confederation. One thing I did want to mention too, now once you have the outline, you can actually remove the paper if you want. It doesn't hurt to bead over the paper, but if you want, and I have a little pair of tweezers here. So what you can do, I'll do it on mine, is you can actually just tear that out. A couple of other things I just wanted to mention. When you have a lot of beads, sometimes a spoon is handy to help scoop them up. Actually, we can show it on Carole's red bead.
I've even got beads in my beeswax.
Beads in my beeswax. Yeah. That would be a good fiddle tune.
I think so.
This is called bead soup.
Yeah, that's right. I think what Maria County said about the reciprocal obligations between them and other women. I think if we thought about that, we see that we have expectations from them. And Maria has a story of how her father always had game when they'd all come home for dinner. And one time they all came home and the son said, "Dad, this is beef. Where's the lamb food? Where's the pig?" And he said that he had been out for 2 days, couldn't find it. And he was really fed up and he was bringing out fish. And then standing in front of him was an old bull.
Oh,
And the old bull said, "Heaven have fed your family all your lives, and why do you not kill him? You don't need to take them now, as you did when your family was young. You have a duty of respect." And he said that was the last time his the father went into. He gave away his guns and he said, "Well, I was ungrateful because this is true. He was giving me food for 50 years and I was wrong to simply expect." So yeah, there's that subtlety in the kind of obligation. So if you're planning to get a ticket to kill a moose just for the fun, or for the sake of having a piece of them, and then unfortunately, that would be sad.
right.
So I was just thinking to the notion of using game animals.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times in Indigenous culture, the entire animal was
Used, nose to tail,
used.
absolutely.
Do you want to talk about that?
It's flour and it's baking powder, salt. You put it in a big bowl and then you mix oil and then you put it in the bowl and you work it until it's stretchy and elastic. Put it on the countertop with lots of flour and work it. It's bread. And once it's at the right consistency, it goes in the oven. And some people can make the most heavenly, light, fluffy bag. And some of us.
If you were able to get this done, then we'll be ready to put the pin and the backing on and let that set. And after we do that, then I can teach you about doing the center of the poppy, because you'll be very good at doing single or double needle flat stitch. And again, with poppies, there's all kinds of ways to fill in the petals. Do them in a circle, you can follow along the petals, you can do like a chevron shape. The plan today is to put the pin on and then glue the backing on, so next week it'll be ready for edging. So here we have the orange shirt, and what we want to do is to be able to cut around the outline, but not too close. You still want to have a little bit of felt, because when you're going to be doing the edging, you're going to be putting a needle through the felt and through the hide backing. The other thing is, when you're cutting around your shirt, I suggest you do it from the back so you can see where the threads are. You don't want to cut any of your beading threads and have your beads come out. I brought some margarine or cottage cheese lids, and what we're going to do, so a little small rectangle is going to go in here to stabilize the pin so it doesn't fold over. And we'll need to kind of scuff them up. You can use your scissors or something just to make sure the glue will hold. That will have to dry. We'll put our little clips on there, and that'll keep it until it dries. Number two, what we're going to do is start looking at our poppy. So we'll learn how to do the center beading and then the lines for the 4 petals. This one, I did the center beading and the outline. So I just put the purple coloring in there, and then we can go ahead and bead over that. We have the center bead. If this is the center, you string 1 bead, and then what you do is place that bead, you go down beside it, so the bead will be stabilized. So here we have a single bead. Put our needle back up a little bit of ways, then what we do is put 7 beads on. Some people do 8. I think 7 is pretty well what most people do. Take that and surround it. So you can see that makes a center. But what I do then is go through the beads again. So then we want to tack them down. But this time we tack every bead down. So if my thread is out here, I want to go over back beside that center bead and go down. And then you come up between the center bead and the outer beads and you go down. So essentially what you're doing is tacking this whole little center of your poppy down. Now, to do the second layer, I tend to like to then come up between 2 beads there. So I tend now to do the same thing that I did for this. So I will maybe make a circle around, it will be at least 7 beads. So what I'm going to do, I think that fits. So I'm going to stabilize this. So I'm just going to run through that circle again with my thread. And then essentially it's the same thing. Tack down each bead. And there you'll have the center of your poppy. And then from there, you know what to do, because now you know how to do straight lines. So you can bead each part of the petal. As I said, you can go right around if you want, or you can do each separately, and then tie each one of these off. Because what helps with that is that if your beads do start to unravel, at least the whole thing won't come apart. When you're doing the single needle beading, and you're coming up, remember to go through one of the previous beads, right? So you put on, let's say we're doing 2 beads at a time. You want to go down. And what you can do is come up between these 2 and then go through. The other thing you can do when you're done your line is just run your thread through the line again. It often helps straighten them out. So I gave each of you a little piece of plastic, and what you need to do is, like, you can just store it like that. It's just so the glue will stick to it on either side. When it comes to the leather, put your little shirt on there, trace. So I trace on the inside. One little tip: make a mark somewhere on your shirt that is exactly in the same place as on the hide you cut out. So this one will tell you how to line up your leather. So we've got the leather like that. And you don't want to make it too tight. You can always trim it down after. So let's see. So then you can say, yeah, that's pretty good. So you want to center your pin. So what we do is we have the offside, the back of backing, and put this approximately where you want it to be. Mark where the lever is for the pin, put a little mark there, and where the closure is for the pin. So once you have that marked, then just fold over your leather and make 2 little snips where those are. So there we go. With the little plastic pieces, you may want to just cut off the sharp corners. And then you want to center those somewhere. So eventually what we want to do is make a sandwich with the back, the little piece of plastic, and then we take our leather with the pin and we glue that. Jillian was saying she watched some YouTube videos on beading. You're going to become an addict because there's so many of them on beading. And notice that I do things a different way. And you will find that. And there's no right way of doing it. The right way is the one that works for you. And I've changed the way I bead since I started. Because you find some things that just come more naturally to you or make more sense to you. So today I think what we're going to do, we do the edge beading around, so that holds the leather to the felt. To be decorative and to really tack down the leather to the felt, you could do a line of beading around it, and that makes it look really nice. So what I want to show you here, this is the purple poppy. And there's different ways you can bead the petal. Now if I was doing a poppy, I would do all 4 petals the same way, but some people may go up and down, like here. Some people may go right around, just follow a circle around to fill in the petals that way. Other times what you can do is fill in the petal by just outlining, going around the outline of the petal until it gradually fills in. In this one, sometimes you'll see people put a little center. So you would have 4 little areas where you'd have maybe 3 or 4 black beads. The other thing you can do, you're not restricted to one color of beads. So for a poppy, you might want to use different shades of red because then people will do like a color gradation and that looks really nice. And some people will even leave the center bare and put sparkly or silver or clear transparent glass beads around the edge, and so there's all kinds of ways you can be creative with that.
Our elder passed away during COVID, but when she started the circle, she was 70 years old. She incorporated us as a not-for-profit with the church number, and she did the articles of incorporation and stood at the board of directors.
She was very youthful right to the end.
So we have a video of her speaking about the Michif language because she was elder in residence at several schools.
He was a force to be reckoned with, for sure.
Okay, well now hang on.